All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Who's on here? I can't really tell, but I hope there's somebody. We want to talk about proper preparation before painting is what we're going to talk about today. So there's really 7 P's, but Don only let me put 5 on there. Some of you that know me know what the other 2 are. So we'll get started. Proper prep prevents poor performance or poor paint performance. And there's a number of steps to go through, and it's very simple to go through these steps and to make sure that you get a pretty nice paint job. We'll talk about the substrates that we're going to try to paint, cleaning, sanding and scuffing, fillers, putty, cleaning again and priming. As you can see, cleaning is listed twice. That's important. So we're going to talk about all these things. So we'll start with the different substrates. Most everybody's dealing with aluminum, ACM, vinyl, HDU, some acrylic, polycarb in some shops, trim cap, steel, very, very seldom wood, bronze, and brass, but it all requires proper prep before trying to paint it. So cleaning. There's 2 types of cleaners. There's solvent-based cleaning, there's water-based cleaning. Your solvent-based cleaners, usually on raw metal material, a solvent-based cleaner is the best source to clean simply because when you spray it on or you wipe it on, it actually lifts the debris and dirt and wax and stuff from your hands and what came over from the fab shop. Sometimes we never know. It lifts it off of that surface and you can wipe it clean. Generally, these are wipe on, wipe off type cleaners, okay? Water-based cleaners, same premise. However, they're a little bit safer for your plastics, your pre-finished material like your ACM, anything with baked on enamel, coating, galvanized. It's not a bad idea to use a water-based cleaner. And at Akzo, we have those, and our competitors have those as well. You always want to clean before you sand or scuff, okay? A lot of folks will get that stuff from the fab shop, put it down there, get a DA going, and just start buzzing. And it's a real good way to just grind the dirt deeper into the aluminum or whatever you're trying to accomplish to prep the paint. Just grinding the dirt in there. There's really no reason for it. Clean it first, and you're going to have a better opportunity for some really good adhesion when it comes time to prime. Sanding and scuffing. When do I sand? When do I scuff? You usually want to have some type of abrasion on every substrate. There are a few exceptions on some plastics and things. It just creates a good surface for adhesion. When do I sand? If I've got stuff from the fab shop and I've got, some surface scratches, things like that, I have seams. I want to make sure that I've got a nice even surface that I can prime on. And so as far as grit of sandpaper, you can start with 80. I don't care if you start with 36, but you should end up somewhere around 180, 220, 320. We don't paint Lexus in sign shops usually, but sometimes there are signs that require a very nice finish on them. So up to 400 is good. Anything more than that, you're really, kind of wasting time and money. But 180 grit generally with all the primers that are out there, that's a pretty good sand. DA sanders, not electric. I'm not a big fan of electric. I like the air-powered oscillating DA sanders, and you don't need to ramp that thing up to 746 miles an hour. A nice medium speed, work in nice areas, get the whole thing, kind of even all the way across. That's all it takes. We walk into some shops sometimes, and it sounds like just a buzzsaw going off in the prep department. And that's just something that a lot of guys, they've got these sanders up on end. They're just zipping through it. They're doing a 5-second sand with a DA. use the equipment what it's designed to use for. Okay, when to scuff any pre-finished material, any trim cap, plastic, Scotch-Brite scuff pads are fantastic. Paint is its own best adhesion promoter. So we want to make sure it's clean. We're going to clean that with water. We're going to scuff that. And then we can use adhesion promoter, or we can use primer and put that down. There are some primers, etch primers, that you should not spray on top of existing finishes. They'll eat right through them. There are some, however, that you can go right over the painted surface with. So when do I sand? When do I scuff? Just remember, anything raw material, raw extrusion, sand it. Pre-finished, I want to scuff it. Plastics, you can do a light scuff as well. Fillers or putty. So I see a number of these signs that are multiple pieces, and there's seams, there's reveals, there's screw holes, where they're trying to fill with that stuff, and I'll see all kinds of stuff in the shop. Putty, I'll see metal glaze, Bondo. That's all fine, but here's the problem. Primer will not hide that. It's coming back. And the reason being, most of those products have peroxide in them. That's going to come right back through your paint surface. It's going to go right through your primer surface and right back through your paint surface. So it's a very good idea to seal or lock that product down before you paint over it. There are a number of good sealers out there. There's a number of good urethane primers out there that will lock that material down. And I know it's necessary in some of these multiple piece faces and pole covers and things that you guys do. But we definitely want to lock that stuff down. We don't want it coming back to bite us. One of the other main things, and I should have said this earlier, Sharpie pens. That's the nastiest, meanest thing you could put on aluminum, because it's coming right back through. It doesn't matter if you paint black and use a black Sharpie. You can still see that Sharpie coming through. Peroxide. That's what's coming through that paint. It's trying to get out. It never ever really dries, and you will see it. So to clean Sharpie off, you've got to use some type of paint thinner. Okay, wax and grease remover, solvent-based cleaner, water-based cleaner. It may look like it took it away. It did not. It's going to come back and get you. Most people who have been through building the sign and have seen that, they know exactly what I'm talking about. But as far as fillers and putties and something, a lot of times they'll use a latex filler as long as it's dry. We want to lock that down. That's just a good recommendation to do. And then clean it before you prime it. So you're done prepping it. You've got everything down. We want to clean it again. Okay. Now, this includes tacking the surface off, blowing it off. You can use the solvent-based cleaner if it's just sanded aluminum. And believe me, when you spray it on there, you will see the black soot come up. I know you've seen it before. It'll come up. Wipe it on, or spray it on, wipe it on, and dry it off. Water-based cleaners as well. Just make sure. Sometimes when you see that cleaner on a sanded surface, you'll see the streaking and things like that. Just kind of depends on how much primer's on there, but you don't want the streaks coming back through. That's for sure. So clean, clean, clean. It starts in the shop, and it should be a priority all day, especially for your painters in the paint shop. Tack cloths are invaluable. We don't have in the sign business $250,000 to $1 million paint booths with downdraft and side downdraft and controlled temperatures. We're going to have trash. That's just the name of the game. It is what it is. That sign goes 80 feet up in the air, no one's going to see it. But if you have marker signs or directionals or wayfinding, people are going to look at that and touch it. We want it to be as clean as possible. So tacking is very important before you prime. And as far as primer goes, primer is not paint. We don't want to paint with primer. We don't want to put 2 mils of primer down to especially etch primer before we paint. That's not its intended purpose. The purpose of it is it's an adhesion. It's It's a mechanism that's going to bond to that metal and allow the paint to bond to the primer. And if that's done correctly, you should have a very long-lasting finish. Whatever paint you use should be a long-lasting finish. Primer is intended to be somewhere between a half to 0.75 mil. There are some buildable primers out there. If there are, I would definitely follow the technical data sheets on how to spray that stuff. Direct to metal primers, epoxies, they're just a little bit different, but in our business, most of the time everybody's using some type of etch primer. And I see it so many times. There's a lot of primer on there, and all of a sudden we have an issue when it's painted. When the surface is painted, we see orange peel, we see it wavy, we see bumps, we see contamination, fish eyes. It's not designed for that. Primer is just a mechanism in between the substrate and the paint, and it's an important mechanism because that's what holds everything together. So a properly prepared substrate will not need too much primer. With the new products out in the market today, VOC compliant, they're just not designed to have that much on there. Okay, so we're gonna use what's required, but not overuse it. It's not paint. Okay. Following all these steps, proper prep prevents poor paint performance. We're going to get a long-lasting finish. They're going to last. It's going to look good, and it's going to protect that substrate. You're not going to have a lot of calcification in aluminum or rust in steel. Your plastics it's going to last a lot longer. The coating on them, because you know as well as I do, some of this plastic, with the exception of translucent plastic paint, that tends to heal the easiest when it's nicked or something like that. So following these easy basic steps is just a recipe for some great finishes and great performance of paint product. So